Hello and welcome to Footy Judge Mo. This is your boy Mo here. We're gonna have a brilliant show with you. Make sure to hit that like button if you just joined us, of course. Let me change my camera because I don't like the zoom in on this camera already. But make sure to hit that like button for us, please. I'm gonna have a brilliant one. We're gonna discuss Spurs, we're gonna discuss Arsenal, we're gonna discuss Chelsea and Manchester United. I'm here with a great guest. Let me introduce the guy with a great opinion, of course. Love talking to him. Had a couple of chats with him before. He is gonna be fantastic. You're gonna love him, you're gonna like him, or you're gonna hate him, of course, like a lot of people, of course. I think you know the face, I think you know the name. He has some beef with other YouTubers, but it's a guy that I was waiting to get on the channel for a while. I think you're gonna enjoy him. I want to get your opinion, but before we do that, get the likes up. The like button is underneath your live chat, of course. So hit that like button for me. And without further ado, it's the guy, the man. It's him, right? It's him. It is Will Stewart, of course. As you know, it's Will Stewart, of course, from Tottenham Away TV. Welcome to the show, my man.
What's going on, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's a great season, and I'm looking forward to talking to you today about Tottenham.
We're not only going to talk about Tottenham, we're going to talk about Spurs, we're going to talk about Arsenal, because the people have a lot of things to say about both. Who's going to be top, who's going to be bottom, who's going to actually, can you challenge? But people, hit that like button for us. Of course, we're just starting here. But, well, let me just get you, first of all, to assess. Let's assess you're a Spurs fan, of course. How do you assess this year? How do you assess this season? Are you surprised or were you expecting this?
No, I mean, I'm 100% surprised, to be honest with you. I mean, coming into the summer, coming off of the back of last season, Conte walking away, us falling from 4th to 8th. There wasn't a whole lot of hope in the Spurs fan base coming up until, the summer. And then we hear about, Ange Postecoglou, which, to be honest with you, I don't know if there may be some Spurs fans that were well informed about him as a manager, but I think all of us, we've heard his name before, obviously managing at Celtic, but I don't think there were too many Spurs fans out there that were, I guess you could say, overly excited. And to be honest with you, because of the last 5 years that we've had, the situations we've had, managers, I mean, we haven't had a single manager last a full season since Pochettino got sacked, right? So for us, there's always been a little bit of skepticism it doesn't matter what manager that we sign with these players, we're going to be dog crap, right? So,
yeah, 100%. Also, Harry Kane leaving. So let me talk about that. Let's start with Harry Kane. Let me talk with Harry Kane. Were you happy that Harry Kane left? Were you one of these guys that says, yeah, I want this guy gone from my club. I think we'll be better without him. I think he's a little bit, doesn't want to stay here. What were your thoughts when you started seeing the links to Bayern Munich? Man United were talking about him. So what were your thoughts, like the trail of thoughts? What happened?
Yeah, so I am not. I love Harry Kane as a player. But Harry Kane in Tottenham was not something that I was necessarily the biggest fan of. I was probably his biggest critic, believe it or not, since the whole City rumors came out with him and his chat with Gary Neville, right? So it's and then him down in tools under Nuno, not scoring 2 goals from the time the season started all the way till December. For me, I was not his biggest fan at that point in time. And then, coming into last season and in the summer, look, if you've got a player and he's unwilling to sign a new contract, if you're able to get money for him as a club, because I'm a fan of the badge on the front, not the name on the back, right? So you have to take that money. And if he would have turned down the Bayern deal, stayed for another year and left on a free, I would have said he would have been a bigger Judas than Saul Campbell, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. So let me get to the other question. In my opinion, I'm not sure if you watched my show yesterday. I did a solo show and I was talking about Spurs, and also I did a show Never a Foul. And some people just ridiculed my opinion that why cannot Spurs be the Arsenal of last year this season? What is stopping them? We're seeing a team that plays absolutely good football. Yes, you can see chances, but you see out games, you win games, top of the league. If you keep your stars fit, can you go all the way? Can you get like to top 4, solidify your place in top 4? How do you see that?
Yeah, so for me, I haven't heard a single good argument from any rival fans as to why we can't, make a push this season based off of what the first 8 games and how we've been playing under Ange Postecoglou. The only thing that I've heard is you're Spurs, you're Spursy, you're all of these things, which anybody knows is not relative to the actual reality. I mean, people were saying it about Arsenal last year before they made got their second place in their title challenge and what they did with it. Nobody counted them. There was not a single pundit that I could see that rarely even had them finishing in the top 4 last season, much less making a push and pushing in for City. But they made it happen, right? They went against the odds and they got it done. But for us in Spurs, this is a whole new team. And this is what I don't understand. Like, if you want to use the historical argument, you guys are Spurs, you haven't won anything in 20, years under Daniel Levy, you haven't won any trophies, bar one, League Cup. Then you have to use that same argument for Spurs as well, right? You can't dismiss the fact that Ange Postecoglou, going into wherever he's been, from Australia to Japan to Scotland, has improved the teams, and within a very short amount of time gone from being either mid-table or say in Scotland finishing 25 points below Celtic the season before, to immediately bringing in new people, changing the style of football and getting results. I mean, that's undeniable. If you look at his trend in Australia, he did the same thing, went into an average team and made them champions. Same thing in Japan, went into an average team and made them champions. Went into Celtic, who the season before finished 25 points behind Rangers, exceeded them by almost 8 or 9 points the very next season. So that's a 35-point swing that he made at Celtic. And if you're going to use the historical arguments, you can't not just immediately dismiss that and say, well, that was Scotland, that was Spain. Because I'm not saying Scotland, the Scottish League is the Premier League. What I'm saying is that if you look at wherever he's managed and that level that he's managed, he's been able to take mediocre teams or teams that have struggled the season before and turn them into winners. And if you take that, if you point at that same argument then onto Tottenham, who, by the way, were in 4th place when Antonio Conte left, and everybody acts like Antonio Conte's form at the end of his period was really, really bad. It wasn't. In the league, we had, bar one loss, we had 4 wins or 2 wins and 2 draws. So we had achieved 8 points in his last 5 games. So it's not like we were losing in the league. Our form in the league wasn't horrible. It was our form in other cup competitions, and then our form in the Champions League against AC Milan. That was the only struggles that Antonio Conte was having at the time. In the league, we were still getting decent results. Then he gets the sack, and we go to his assistant manager. The very next game, we lose 6-1 to Newcastle. He gets the sack a few days later, and we go back to Ryan Mason, who, by the way, is the one who's actually responsible for our table finish in Jose Mourinho's last season as well. Completely downturning results, and we end up finishing 8th. That same season when we were in Jose Mourinho, we were top of the league in December, although it was a late start season. Dropped off a little bit in form, but when Ryan Mason took over, we were still within reach of the top 4, and we fell and finished 7th. So the 2 times that Ryan Mason has taken over, we have dropped down the table, not increased it.
So there are a couple of comments here, guys. There is about 40 of you here. We just started, so hit that like button, get me to 50 likes. I know you can. I know a lot of people did not hit that like button. The like button is underneath your live chat. The like button is how this channel grow, how this channel go to different people. Couple of comments here that actually they kind of translate to the same. I think a Man City fan, Traction, Herb, Ultra, Traction, Allah, Traction. If Spurs can handle the absence of Bissouma and avoid injuries to Mason and Son.
I'm guessing that's Madison
And Son, but they will have a great chance of top 4. I don't see them challenging in the long run, but they are doing great. That's one. And the second one is from Martin, of course, one of our guys, of course. He's saying, as an Arsenal fan that knows the situation, embrace it and enjoy it. Don't talk yourself out of the title. Don't talk yourself out of the title challenge. So, Martin, do you think they are in the title challenge if they can keep it up? I'm not sure, but do you think that with one game, you can keep everybody fit this season?
I mean,
is that the only key? Is that the only thing here?
Yeah, I mean, that's the best possible scenario, right? I mean, if you look at Arsenal last season, they went out of both cup competitions in the first round that they played in. They went out of the Europa League early, right? And so
they only quarterfinal.
Yeah, so then they kind of had, pretty much one game a week as well for the most part. And their depth last season, that was their Arsenal. That was their whole complaint as to why they didn't end up winning, is because they didn't have any depth. If somebody got injured, if Saliba got injured, you got Rob Holding. The scenarios are very similar. So if Arsenal were able to do it, you can't then say Spurs aren't able to do it. Will they do it? That's an unknown. None of us can say if we will or if we won't. But if you're talking about possibilities, the current starting 11 that we have, the spine that we have in Son, Maddison, Bissouma, and then the two defenders, Van der Ven, who, by the way, has come into the league and surprised even me. I was completely...
You know what he's doing? Do you remember Sven Botman last year when he came to Newcastle? Yeah. Nobody saw it. It's like, oh, well, who's Sven Botman? Yeah, he's a good defender, but is he going to... And at the end, Newcastle are joined top in the best defense of the league. So you're not now, but Van der Ven is doing for me as Sven Botman for me. Like,
well, I rated Sven Botman. In fact, we wanted him at Tottenham for a while. There, especially in our fan base. We, even under Jose Mourinho, he was one of the targets that we were looking at back in the day. And the only thing for me that I would say, if there was one logical argument that people wanted to have against Tottenham being able to make a challenge this year, it would be the fact of who our owner is, right? Daniel Levy.
Yeah. And talk to me about that, because yesterday you heard that he's not going to back the team up. He's not going to do this. He's not going to do that.
Yeah, so Daniel Levy over the past 4 years has actually spent quite a bit of money. The problem is he spent that money poorly, right? So since we got to the final of the Champions League in 18-19 season, we've spent actually a ridiculous amount of money, but we literally have nothing to show for it, right? All of that money went on players like Ndombele and Lo Celso and weird loan deals from Carlos Vinicius to Bruno Fernandes, not Bruno Fernandes, but the other Fernandes, can't remember his name now, but his first name, but Jetson Fernandez. And so
I remember that guy.
Yeah. So it's just been a weird one. The only difference for me, the symmetry breaker for that for me, or the thing that's going to be the difference maker, is we had Ange Postecoglou. Not even, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, he did a fan forum with Daniel Levy, Heung-min Son, and the women's coach and one of the women's captains. And he sat there sitting right next to Daniel Levy and said, I won't bring into my team any player that I don't think can fit into my system. And he said that with Daniel Levy sitting on the stage. So if we can believe his word that that's going to happen, then surely those mistakes should be minimalized, because if you look at Ange Postecoglou and the players that he's brought in, even if they're no names that nobody's ever heard about, the no-name, Japanese players that he brought into Celtic that ended up tearing up the league and scoring 30-plus goals in a season, or, helping him to accomplish what he accomplished there, which, by the way, isn't a small feat. There haven't been that many, Celtic, out of all the years they've been playing in Scotland, have only done the domestic treble 8 times, and that's including the one with Postecoglou. So it's not something that's normal or usual. So for me, it's just like, if we sign, because normally since we finished in the final, we've signed around 2 players per January window, and we've gotten some good signings out of that. Kulusevski, Bentancur changed that Conte season, allowed us to get top 4. Those 2 were instrumental in that run. You have last season in the winter transfer window, we didn't have maybe as great of a one. We signed a couple players on loan, but we also got in Pedro Porro, who's been outstanding for us so far this season, who I rate really highly.
Has been absolutely outstanding for, I'm looking at Sar has been great, which is a youngster that you bought, I think 2 years ago or something. I don't know what. I get why people would put Spurs, but would doubt Spurs. For me, I'm a neutral. You know me, like I don't have a soft spot for Spurs, to be honest. I don't care, in my opinion, because I don't consider Spurs a big team at all. Because when you were, just to be honest here, and I said that many times, when you were at the top, you didn't use your chances. You didn't win trophies to nullify, to put your feet. Like when Chelsea were on top for 20 years, they won the Premier League, they won trophies. So even 10 years from now, if Chelsea don't make the Champions League, they will still be one of the big teams. If Spurs drop for a while, now for the next 5-10 years, people will forget about Spurs. People forget that you were one of the top 6. People will forget that you sat at that table because you didn't win trophies. You weren't one of the people that won Champions League or Europa Leagues or the Premier League. And that's Arsenal, though, have the history behind them. Spurs, everybody has history. I'm not going to say that you don't have the history, but you don't have that big of a history.
We
Like
don't have modern history, right? The last
exactly.
20, 30
Like
years.
even Forest, Nottingham Forest have history, right? But the
Yeah.
problem is, even Nottingham Forest, when you drop that deep, you forget about it. You get him forgotten about. Spurs, you will need to win. You will need to sit at that table for many, many years again to be like, yes, I'm a top 6 club. I'm one of the biggest clubs in Europe or whatever. Because at the moment, you're not. So that's why people say Spurs. That brings me to this one. Martin here saying Ange completely nullifies the usual Spurs chalk gene, which is it's what people call Spursy. And I know well that you don't like that. You don't like that Spursy thing. Like people say, yeah, but this is Spursy. But is it a true thing? Do you think it's a true thing?
I don't really know what Spursy means because it's thrown around in so many different contexts that I don't actually understand. Like I know what it means, but I don't understand what it necessarily applies to, right? Like so people say that we're
Not finishing the race. So what it means?
yeah, not finishing the race.
Yeah,
like
you know what I mean.
Let's take the Pochettino season where we finished second behind Chelsea, right? We were never in first place. We were always chasing, right, Chelsea in that time. And then when Leicester won the league, we were always chasing them. We weren't ever ahead of anyone. We weren't like Arsenal where we were in first place for 93% of the season and then ended up dropping down, finishing multiple points behind the title winners, right? That hasn't been our. So if you're never in the seat, if you never have the bottle in your hand, how can you be the bottler? Right? So if you're talking about like the only thing you could say that maybe we bottled was the Champions League final, right? And I think that's Harry Kane's fault. I blame Harry Kane for that, and I blame Pochettino for that. There's been since then there have been reports that Harry Kane kind of forced him starting in that. Like that would he's the guy. He's back, even though he wasn't 100% fit. He's got to play in that Champions League final because of his brand, because of who he is, because he was the talisman of the club. He had to be there, and you got to remember that in that whole run, except for the group stages, it wasn't Harry Kane that got us there, right? It was Heung-min Son and it was Lucas Moura and Llorente's buttocks and all kinds of stuff, right? So he wasn't a part of that run, and for him to do that and to insist on that, because I actually think that on the day we were probably played a little bit better of a game than Liverpool did. Yeah, we lost
because they went ahead in the beginning.
Yeah. 5 seconds in with a handball that wasn't supposed to be. The rules weren't supposed to be applied in that particular season, and it is what it is. But
guys, welcome everybody that joined from the 12th Man podcast from Potts' stream. Of course, make sure to hit that like button, get it to 150 likes. We're talking about Spurs at the moment. We'll switch to Arsenal in a bit, but actually, it's a good segue to Arsenal. From what I'm understanding from you, you want to shift that Spursy term into Arsenal.
We call it RC.
Arsenal. But Arsenal have the history behind them. There is a rivalry between both clubs, of course.
Theirs is 20 years old, too.
Spurs finished ahead of them for years and years in the last, about 8 or 9 years, of course. So...
6 out of the last 7.
Do you think Arsenal are ahead of you? Or do you think... with Ange Postecoglou, I want you to compare both clubs because it was a process with Arsenal. That's what we've been told. That's what we've been told. Yes, FA Cups are trophies, so they won trophies, Martin. So I get that. So they won trophies, Arsenal. But I want to talk about now, right? I want to talk about now. You think that you skipped the process. Did you skip the process at all? Did you catch up to Arsenal? Or you don't think so?
I don't think that our process was necessarily as bad as theirs was.
No,
right?
I'm talking about Ange now.
Yeah. So, but what I mean by that is, we may not have ever gotten it over the line, but when you look at the quality of players that we had world-class players in our squad. We had world-class managers. So maybe the machine wasn't put together correctly, right? It wasn't a right fit in order to get the job done. But the pieces to that, I think we had had better pieces in place to allow that progress to come quicker, right? We don't have Nketiah in our front line, right? As our striker, we have Heung-min Son, right? We don't have,
but you have Richarlison.
Yeah, we have Richarlison, but he doesn't play there. I don't know if I'd say he's worse than Nketiah.
No, I'm not taking this.
I'd say he's close.
Richarlison should not be playing Premier League football.
I agree with you. I'm not. You're not going to. I am not one who rates Richarlison.
This guy is getting away with murder in daylight. He shouldn't be playing Premier League football. He was good at Watford, good at Everton. He doesn't have a first touch. He doesn't have a finishing touch. The guy acts like a tough guy, but he isn't a tough guy.
If it doesn't hit his head, it's not going in the back of the net. This is a weird stat that I can do all kinds of things. I can do we can do serious football talk. We can do stats. We can do dumpster fire stuff.
I'm just judging him with my eyes.
Yeah, and just with your eyes. It's funny is that he's only scored his only goals for Tottenham Hotspur so far in the 2 years that he's been with us, or a year and a half. It's been with his head. He's not scored with his feet once.
And he's Brazilian.
He's
Brazilian. Oh my God! But that's what I'm saying. They have Nketiah, but you want to compare both squads, and I will come to your opinion about the Maddison and the Odegaard and all the talk about that.
Sure.
But is this Spurs team compared to Arsenal team? Do you think seriously you can go toe to toe with them this year? Genuinely?
Yeah, I do. I really do. Because for me, the reason why I say that is it's got to be our midfield. I think our midfield is better than theirs. I think, especially if we get Bentancur back, and if Bentancur comes back as the quality of a player he was before his injury, which is a big if, by the way. But if that happens, I think we have one of the best midfields in the league. You have Maddison, but Bentancur, Bissouma in there. You've got our defense. I think our fullbacks are better than theirs. Ben White would probably be good. I mean, is he really a fullback? And how much does Ben White actually?
You're comparing Ben White to Pedro Porro here.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in an attacking system. If we're both supposed to be playing attacking football, which is what Arsenal fans claim that they play, I think Pedro Porro is way better going forward than Ben White is. The passes that he has, if anybody saw the assist that he made to Son. Just a curling ball from the back line all the way up to the front, in stride, in pace, in step. I've never seen Ben White make that pass.
Oh my God!
Have you?
Right, I haven't. But
okay, that's what I'm saying. Now, if you want to talk defensively, obviously Ben White as a defender is probably better than Pedro Porro defensively.
In the chat, people are calling you deluded.
I've heard it before.
People are calling you deluded. I'm not sure if you're watching the chat or not.
I'm watching it. I've heard it before.
You are triggering a lot of people, bro. A lot of people.
It's all good. It's all good.
Guys, it's not my freaking opinion.
It's my opinion, and I will live and die by my opinion, and I'm not scared of it either. I always back every opinion. Every opinion that I make is based on a strong foundation of data.
I really listen, people in the chat. First of all, can you give that like button, like make it lit? Because me and him, I will go into the conversation for real, and I will not take from him feelings. I won't take from him just statements without him explaining them, and I will never do that. Right? I won't do that, but. I want you first to get me to 100 likes because this conversation is going to get saucy. I promise you this. Let's get saucy. Is going to get saucy. Like him talking about his defense, Gabriel and Saliba, bro. Yeah. I don't think Romero and Van de Ven are even close to Gabriel and Saliba. Saliba, for me, is the best defender in the league. And I'm talking stats. I'm talking eyes. I'm talking a proactive defender. I'm talking everything, bro. Van de Ven is good. Romero, for me, is a bozo. 100% is a bozo for me. He's an average defender, in my opinion. Just relies on, try to be aggressive, try to look like the tough guy. But ability-wise, he isn't it. That's my opinion. And I'm not just basing that based on he receives a lot of yellow cards, very rash, doesn't read the game very well, gets beat sometimes a lot, and does very reactive player. Saliba is the proactive defender in the league, reads the play. So this is the first two lines. Vicario versus David Raya. I can go on and on about that defense. Zinchenko, Udogie is unexperienced. You're really comparing an experienced left back that captains his national team to a kid that is about to get his first national call-up for Italy. That looks energetic and everything, but Zinchenko is more experienced there.
I mean, you're a Serie A fan, right? So
no, I'm a Premier League fan, but yes, I'm an Inter fan, but I don't watch a lot of Serie A.
Oh, okay, because Udogie, playing for the club that he played for in Serie A was amazing. All right, I mean, I think it was young player of the year or something like that in Italy. You had Vicario, who had the second best goalkeeper in the league last season when it came to statistics, saves, all of the underlying numbers and all those things. So
guys, it's not me. I promise you on this channel.
Let me explain it.
I'm going to try to get you controversial opinions. And you're going to enjoy this.
We're going to do it. And I'll explain it. And I'll back you for everyone else.
Guys, let's do the 100 likes. There's almost 150 people here. Let's do the 100 likes.
100 likes. Like up the stream already. I don't know why you guys haven't liked it. It's free and it's easy.
Stream, people. Like the stream. Let's get more people to listen to.
Hit the like button if you think I'm deluded.
Right? Go ahead. Give me the juice. Give me the freaking juice, bro.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the juice. So basically, if you want to talk, so Romero last season, I would agree with you, was rash, yellow cards, all of that stuff. But this season, that hasn't been it. And in fact, for the first 2 or 3 games of the season, he didn't even have a foul called on him. I think he's only on 1 yellow card so far this season. He's been a lot more. I think him being added as a vice captain has really, I guess you could say, put the responsibility on his shoulders. So I don't think that he's been as rash. And when it comes down to the numbers, Romero's clear of Saliba in every statistical number that you could think of defensively. 100%.
Keep going. I'm looking 100%. That up. Oh my
Doesn't matter what site you go to. Go to SofaScore, go to FootMob, go to Who Scored, go to FBref, all of them.
To clip this.
Clip it. The data's there. I know. I've already looked. I've had this debate 1,000 times so far this season. Right? So there is no statistical metric at all by which defensively that William Saliba has been better than Romero this season. This is a fact. Could that be down to the fact that they're playing teams who sit back deeper than them, and so he doesn't have the opportunity? Teams aren't coming at him. He doesn't have as many chances to make defensive actions as Romero. It could be, but that just means that they've had an easier run of the mill. Right? If offenses aren't running at Saliba and he doesn't have to make tackles, then you can't say that he's done anything exceptional, right?
Wow, yeah, it's. I'm not with my eyes. I think Romero isn't as good. Like, listen, I'm not gonna fact check you, even though I am at the moment. Actually,
fact check me. I'm 100% confident.
I'm checking you, bro. I'm not checking you.
Just saying.
Oh my God, you're telling me that Romero is a better defender than William Saliba?
So far this season, he has performed better as a defender than William Saliba has. Yes.
Is he better on the ball then?
I think Romero is really good on the ball. Did you see that run that he made this past weekend?
Listen, people telling me 8 games. Sorry, people telling me 8 games. This is the sample size.
That's the sample size we got under Postecoglou.
Yeah, under Ange Postecoglou, who completely transformed Son, transformed Kulusevski, transformed Bissouma, transformed Sarr, Pedro Porro. He was absolutely nowhere near a football player last year. Look at him now. Even Emerson Royal is not looking as bad as what people said. So I'm just gonna do Ange Postecoglou this year. I'm not gonna do anybody else. But yeah, keep going. You're talking about Gabriel Van de Ven.
Yeah, and so then when you look at Mickey Van der Ven's numbers as well, Van der Ven has exceeded every metric that Gabriel has.
What do you say about they having a better defense than you? So everything you say is well. You can just say the data's there, the stats are there. But they conceded less chances. They conceded less. They conceded less chances. They conceded less goals.
Yeah. So
all what you say is gone. It's done. It's the argument is not there.
Well, from open play, we've conceded the same amount of goals. I can
give you Tarkovsky.
But I mean, from open play, we've conceded the same amount of goals as Arsenal has. The only reason why we have conceded 2 more goals from them is from penalties.
Set pieces are part of the game. Don't do that.
Sure. But I don't mean set pieces. I don't even mean corners. I'm talking simply if you just remove the non-penalty goals that we've conceded, right? It's the same, right? So you have the handball from Romero that got deflected off of Maddison's foot. Like when he slides into that tackle, he has no clue that it's going to come up and hit his arm, right? You immediately see the strike, and if you watch the angle by which it accelerated up, there's no way it does that naturally unless he's trying to chip the ball, right? It came off Maddison's foot, hit him in the arm, unexpected. It's a pen. It's a pen. They gave it as a pen. We have to eat that up. But for Romero, as far as making a mistake, when he goes in to block that shot, he has no idea it's coming at his hands, right? When his hands are out like this. So, and then you have the penalty from Son against Brentford, which I'm sorry, that's not a pen in any day of the book. He's running even with the guy, and the back the back of the tip of his toe clips the back of the guy's calf, and the guy dies like Son took his legs out. I mean, it was completely as one of the softest pins I've ever seen.
Someone come so prepared to a stream like this. My man knows
everything.
Just
prepared. I'm just. This is just what I do on a normal daily basis. You're a content creator. You know, we go over the same conversations over and over again. I've had it 1,000 times, but you take those two penalties away, we concede the same amount of goals.
This particular comment: football is based on the eyes. Stats just there to help. Do you agree with that at all?
Yeah. So is it football based on the eyes? Well, no. So all stats are is just a recording of what happened on the day. That's it. It's a factual recording of events that happened.
James Tarkowski last year had the most clearances, the most interceptions, the most blocks, blah blah blah. Does that mean Tarkowski is a better defender than William Saliba or Diaz? Or it doesn't, right?
It just depends on the context and how you're saying it, right? If you're talking about who did more actions on the pitch, then yes, he did more actions. If he did more actions, if he completed more tackles, if he had more blocks and he had more interceptions, then he had to do more than Saliba did. You want to tell me because of
these stats, if William Saliba, if I switch William Saliba, if I get a someone like Saliba and I switch him with Tarkowski, Tarkowski will perform better for Arsenal because he's a better
Not
defender.
Necessarily. No. That's a what if scenario, right? And if you did that, then you would have if William Saliba was put in the same situations that the other player had, William Saliba would have come out with higher numbers than that other person, and that would mean that he's a better defender, right? It's kind of like the whole argument with Van Dijk because Liverpool played a really high line, and he didn't have to make as many tackles as someone say like who plays for Sheffield United does. Then you can't really say that simply based on stats, this player is a better defender. You have to look at each individual situation in the case. But what I'm seeing right now is that from William Saliba, and what is he doing that is better than what Mickey van der Ven or Romero are doing this season?
Yeah, he wins his tackles per 90 is 100%.
Oh, because he's had 4.
But that's the team he plays at.
4.
Or maybe that's why he reads the game well. He doesn't
13.
need to tackle. He doesn't need to tackle. He reads the game better than Romero.
Right, but
he's a proactive. That's what, in my eyes, I'm watching Saliba, and he reads the game better, so he doesn't need to tackle.
Right. So I would say, so if you're reading the games with your eyes and you don't need to tackle, you're either doing one or two things, right? You're either intercepting the ball before it gets to the player that you intend to tackle or would need to tackle, and or that you are marking them well enough that the ball's not played into him in the first place. Right? Those are the only two reasons why he wouldn't need to make a tackle, correct?
Yes, one of them, yes.
Yeah. So if it was true, then so if he had an insane amount of interceptions, right, that made off to that counteracted the fact that he has a low number of tackles, then I would say, okay, his spatial awareness is better. But even when you look at interception numbers between Mickey van der Ven and Romero, they both exceed William Saliba's. So that's not the case.
No,
right?
But there's a percentage of interceptions depending on how many attacks go on you. That's the thing,
right? And so but that's what I'm saying. So if Arsenal's
you concede way more,
we concede more shots.
You concede more chances. You concede because you concede more possession, like Arsenal. So what I mean is that you concede more counterattacks. So he's definitely have to do more interceptions. But Saliba is succeeding in all the challenges he makes. But he might make 2 a game. Romero might make 4. So Romero succeeds in 3. That's 75%. Saliba succeeds in 2. That's 100%.
Yeah, but it's not 2. It's 4
guys,
in the whole season.
I'm not going with the flaw. People are, oh my
it's 4
God.
in the whole season.
I am not going with the flaw. I am actually astonished that someone is sitting here telling me that Romero is a better defender than Saliba. This is...
I've said what I've said is that Romero has performed better than Saliba this season.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying.
This is absolutely...
Right, and if you want to talk about trophies too, and if you want to talk about international play and all those other things, right? William Saliba doesn't have a World Cup, does he?
Don't accuse the freaking messenger in the chat.
I'm just saying.
Don't accuse the messenger.
All the normal tropes that people like to use.
He's the one who's doing the message. It's not me. It's not me.
I'm just saying, if you want to use all the normal tropes that people use, I cannot think of an argument other than people's preferences. Which, if you have a preference, if you think if you like William Saliba as a defender more than you like Romero based on attribute A, B, or C, that's you. Nobody can argue that. That's your preference, right? I just don't see any. I don't see any demonstrable evidence that shows that William Saliba is a better defender than Christian Romero, because it's not in the numbers and it's not in the trophies. What is it then?
This is astonishing. Oh, this is astonishing. This is astonishing. This is ridiculous.
But I'm right. I'm right. There's no demonstrable there's nothing that you could base the fact that Saliba is better than Romero on. There's no foundation for it other than your, than just simply your opinion, which is your opinion. I'm fine with that.
All right. Okay. I disagree with that because I don't only do stats. I actually do football with my eyes, and I would rather have Saliba. This is my opinion. I would rather have Saliba than Romero because I think Romero is rash. His decision.
I'd rather have Saliba and Romero. I would take Saliba over Mickey van der Ven.
Gabriel and Van de Ven. And I don't want to dwell on it because this is going for so long.
Yeah.
I am not freaking waffling. Don't tell me that Mo is waffling. Why I'm waffling? I didn't say shit on this stream.
Yeah, no, I look, I would rather look if I think look, we all know Gabriel's the weak link in their back line, right? And Mickey van der Ven currently, because of
this year isn't a weak link. He's absolutely great this year.
But if you had to have one or the other, who's the better one? Gabriel Saliba, obviously Saliba. Yeah, 100%. Right. Yeah. So that's what I mean by the weak link. I'm not saying he's a bad defender either. I think he's a good defender as well. Right. But then in our back line, Romero is obviously the more experienced and the better center back that I think than Mickey van der Ven. Because Mickey van der Ven doesn't have the experience. He's got 1 year of experience in the top 5 league in Europe before this season. I think he's played very, very well. And I think he's getting better and better and better every single game, right? But I've seen this guy outpace some of the fastest wingers in the league and take him down and slide tackle perfectly.
I actually think Van de Ven is better than Romero.
I think he very well could be. Like I said, it's just time. Time will tell. Right? We have even less evidence.
People are asking, do you watch Arsenal games?
Genuinely? Yeah, I watch every single one.
You watch every single Arsenal game?
Every single Arsenal game, yeah. I have to. We do a show every week on the channel called North London is Ours, and we talk about it every single week.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, guys, there's about 200 people here, and we're not even on 100 likes. You're fucking embarrassing me. Hit that freaking like button. Guys, underneath your live chat, the like button is free. This is free entertainment. I'm not asking you for super chats. I'm not asking you for anything. Just hit that like button. Get me to 100 likes for this. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, it's not ridiculous based on Will's logic here because he has the data and the facts. So
it is what it is.
It is what it is, as you say. So let's go to the midfield. And I have my opinion about the midfield. I actually think Bissouma has been one of the best DMs in the league this year, especially after what
not Rodri as good as Rodri,
but hold on. Yeah. Ability-wise, yes, Rodri is more experienced and everything. But I'm saying this year, he has been performing to the levels that we can talk about Bissouma being, oh my God, how did you go from that last year when you got injured and Conte didn't favor you to bowling like this, to absolutely being amazing. Maddison, of course, for me, has been great. Like Maddison, for me, is the second best player in the league after Mo Salah because it's just Mo Salah has been amazing in especially the last two weeks. The Bissouma Rice conversation that is happening all over the internet now.
Yeah.
Bissouma Rice is like, how do you see this? And can you remove your Spurs hat and absolutely look at the actual? How do you watch both games? How do you see Bissouma versus Rice? Who controls the game better?
Well, I mean, for me. So I have with Bissouma, and I think the reason why he didn't play he didn't have as good of a season last year is just based on the type of the player that he is. I wouldn't say Declan Rice. I haven't really seen him play in a Conte-esque type system before in the past, so I don't know if I can make a necessarily comparison because West Ham didn't play that way. And so, I mean, Conte well. You know what he did at Inter for the 2 years that he was there. You know the types of midfielders that he likes. You know how Christian Eriksen struggled to get into the first side, and that even when he did, he was never the Christian Eriksen that he was at Tottenham, right? Like, so there's different types of players I think that fit in a Conte system, and then there are ones that don't, right? And I just think for Bissouma, because everybody when he played for Brighton was a big, highly rated, right? Arsenal fans wanted him. You know, he was the Caicedo in the stuff of this window, 2-3 years ago, right, when he played for Brighton. This season, though, he's playing in a role that I think mirrors, and I'm not saying he's as good as yet, but he is showing very strong reflections to the Moussa Dembele of the Pochettino era, and the fact that he could pick the ball up on, intercept the ball, make tackles, turn on a dime, push the play forward, find his midfielders, find his wingers, find his forwards, and just really impact and control games all by himself. And I just don't see Rice doing that. I think Rice is a really good player. I don't think he's as hyped up as his price tag was. I think if you want to compare to, I think Rice is more of a Højbjerg-esque type of a midfielder, not a Bissouma. Bissouma, to his game, has far more facets. Rice is not as good on the ball as Bissouma. You're not going to see Rice making the turns and spins and runs that Bissouma makes. I'm sorry, you're just not.
Now, for me this year, Bissouma has been the better player. This is my opinion, and I said that before even we talk here, me and you. I actually think Bissouma has been the one that controls the tempo of the game, controls where the ball, like Madison is the one who controls where the ball is going to go, but Bissouma is the one who controls the tempo. How fast is attack? Are we going to go quick or are we going to go slow? Are we going to build slower? That's the DM's job, which is Rodri. Basically, Rodri decides, are we going full throttle? Are we going fifth gear now? We go straight, or are we going to slow it down? I think Bissouma does that. I haven't seen Rice do that yet. However, Rice is someone who shows up in it to every pass. Bissouma does the same. But Rice has not made the mistakes that Bissouma did this season. Just to be fair, Bissouma did a couple of mistakes, especially that dive it might cost you the next game, because who knows who's gonna play in that midfield. You're lucky that you have an easy game coming up. I think it's some kind of Fulham at home or something like that.
Yeah, it's a Fulham. So to be honest too, just this year, the number of yellow cards, I think we have like 21, or it could be 22 or 23 now after this past game, yellow cards so far this season. None of them, only one of them is from Romero, believe it or not. But most of them have come from their midfield. Papamatasar's on a bunch. Bissouma's on a bunch. I think Madison's on a few.
On 4. Sara, I think, is on 3 as well.
Yeah. So I mean, we've had quite a few, because a lot of it is talking to the referees. They're flashing those cards real easy these years. Bissouma, what he did, I think him getting that yellow card. So if I was the manager and I knew that I had all of these players, and I know we have an easy run of fixtures coming up, I would have instructed them, if you're going to get a yellow card, get it today, right? Because if you miss a game and then if you're going to hit that 5, we want to hit that 5 now, not in December. Because if you look at our run in December, that's a hard run, right? The month of December is going to be a tough one for Tottenham. So I would say, if we're going to get yellow card suspensions, let's get him out of the way now, right? Him going and diving, that was just stupid. And that, I think, messed up the plan, because now he's still on 4 yellows, and we've got more difficult games. Crystal Palace is going to be harder than Fulham. Chelsea, who knows how difficult that's going to be now. But mistakes wise, other than that, there's been maybe 1 or 2 games where he has started slow or given the ball away, I think, a little bit easier than he should. But the good things he does, I think, has way overweighed some of the small mistakes he's getting into. And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that we're new players playing in a new system that are still adjusting to this, right? Postecoglou doesn't come out of the gate firing like this. He normally starts with a lot of mistakes, and then in the later half of the season goes on long runs. And if this is what the mess up looks like, if this is Tottenham's mess up period, what is the good period going to look like?
Yeah, I think we'll have to know. So I want to move. Listen, we can go on and compare. We can compare players. I know we have a lot of Arsenal fans, and you guys haven't hit that like button yet for me. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We're getting subscribers. I'm reaching more than 1.5K. So can you get me that subscribe button It's easy. The notification bell, guys, to know when I go live. Of course, I got a fantastic stream tomorrow with LB from the previous City Extra, the ex-City Extra guy at 3 o'clock UK time. But like the video, people. Hit that like button for me. Give me to 150 likes. I don't know why you don't want to like the video. Even if you don't like, well, I'm assuming you like me, and I'm bringing you controversy on this stream. Listen, we can go on and on. But from what I'm hearing, let's get to the final conclusion before I go on to Liverpool and Man City and Chelsea. You really think they can actually top Arsenal this year if you keep your players fit, of course?
Yeah, if we keep our players fit, and even if we make 2 average signings that can help to fill out the squad in January, I think we've got a really good chance to finish above Arsenal this season. But I'm personally, I was even last season was saying that from October that Arsenal's game looks shaky. And if you look at the way even Arsenal's playing now, they're not creating hardly any chances at all from open play from their midfield or from anywhere else. They're relying on penalties and weird deflections and all of these things. That's where all of their goals have come from, or the majority of their goals have come from. So I just, unless Arsenal fixes that problem, I don't think that's sustainable. I think the way we're playing now, we're creating the most chances in the league. We have the highest, non-penalty creations in the league. We aren't just fluking our way to the wins, right? Bar the Liverpool one, which I was very disappointed about. I didn't celebrate that win at all. I think that I wanted to see us go toe-to-toe with Liverpool for 90 minutes. I didn't like I would rather have them stayed at 11 people because I thought we were playing well. If there's one thing that this young team under Postecoglou struggles with, and that's blocking that. And when you got a defense and a midfield, I mean, they sent off all of their attackers and brought on extra defenders and defensive midfielders, or at least the ones that they have, to sit back, 9 men in the box or 8 men in the box. It made it harder for us to get chances, not easier. Right? The first half, I thought that there were times, especially in the first 15 minutes, where we were taking the ball into their end. We were putting Allison under pressure. It wasn't as often as they have. But to be honest with you, I don't mind. Look, if people want to say that we concede a lot of chances because you got people like Odegaard taking, shots over the bar from 30 yards out, I'm okay with those chances. I'm okay with them, right? I'm okay with Gabriel Jesus taking a shot from basically perpendicular 90 degrees to the goal right at Vicario. I'm okay with that, right? I am okay with conceding those chances. What I'm not okay with is conceding chances like we're creating. 1 and 2 balls into the box. Madison beating a guy in the byline, playing it back to the center spot, finding Son, who slots it through 3 defenders and hits the post and into the goal. Those are the kind of chances that will win you games consistently, not relying on deflections and penalties, because at some point those are going to dry up.
I'm definitely bringing him. When Spurs fall down, I'm bringing him back. And if Spurs in December are still there and thereabout, you'll see him again. And you boys like the freaking stream for this elite content. You guys love it. You guys are laughing. You think you're laughing? I don't think Will gives a damn about what you guys think. He's convinced that he's right. He's literally convinced that
I am.
He's right. He knows he is. He's not only convinced, he knows he is right. Oh my God, I didn't expect that. But listen, like the only thing is that there's a comment here that said, I can't highlight, the comments are flying and I don't have super chats to highlight any comments. Listen, people are saying you're a Madison injury away from actually falling down. But I want to continue. Do you think Arsenal the same? Are Odegaard injury away from falling down as well? But
yeah, so I think you look at if you look at their squad, and I think that the improvements to their squad depth are not as big as people make them out to be. Like the Fabio Vieira, we saw Pape Matar absolutely just abuse that guy in the North London derby, right? He got beat up so bad he didn't come back out of the tunnel at halftime. Right? Pape Matar is what, 18, 19, 20 years old and flopped Vieira around. He spent more time on the ground crying about being beat up than he did playing in the game. So what depth do Arsenal really have in their midfield? Havertz? I mean, come on.
No, but there's an answer here. Martin is answered. Martin already answered that. He said, no, we have Fabio Vieira, we have Emil Smith Rowe, we have Havertz. So he answered that already.
Well, Vieira, Havertz, I don't think are quality replacements for anyone in their midfield. The drop down is huge. Right, Vieira comes on. Every Arsenal fans were hoping Vieira got sold in the summer because of how bad he played last season. And this season he had one or two good substitute appearances against lower half teams, and people all of a sudden said this guy's back now. Then he goes and plays Tottenham and he gets beat up by Papa Matasar, right? So you can't rely on Vieira to be a replacement for Rice, Partey, or Odegaard. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Havertz isn't a replacement either. Most Arsenal fans would agree with me that he's been absolute dog water this season, right? Then you have, who else do they got in midfield? Emile Smith-Rowe. I would say he's actually probably a good player and should be getting more time than he is, but for whatever reason, Arteta doesn't rate him, and he doesn't get any time. He's like fifth spot.
Yeah, I hear you. So, listen, people, I don't know what to tell you, but so I want to move on away from Spurs. I want to talk about Arsenal only. I believe that Arsenal are title contenders.
Yeah.
100%. They're going to go toe-to-toe with City. I believe that, especially after beating them.
Well, I mean, right now they're 8 games in. They're on 20 points, just like we are.
8 games in, yeah. But the difference is, I think they have more depth than you. I think they have more experience in terms of title races, especially last year. That's what I think. That point. I think Arsenal. I still have. Listen, last year I had doubts about Arsenal, but I don't have. This year I have doubts about Spurs, but I'm not gonna knock down what they did until now, because at this point last year I said Arsenal are playing sensational football. I'm gonna say Spurs are playing very, very good football now. It's very good in the eye and it's effective, because the fact is you're top of the league. It's not only good in the eye. You're not Brighton. You know, you are good in the eye when you get results.
We're not Chelsea. Chelsea's been good on the eye, and they're like 11th, right?
So, yeah, exactly that. So for me, I'm not gonna talk about Spurs because Spurs have to convince me to say you're serious. But Arsenal don't have to. Because Arsenal already did that last year. And with Saliba, I believe that Arsenal last year, if Saliba didn't get injured, they'll win the league. It's I think they'll have a better chance of winning the league. I think they go win the league. This is my opinion. But do you think they actually can do it this year? Or it's still Cities and they're just going to challenge, they're going to flirt with it, but they won't win it?
Well, I mean, the league is Cities until it's not, right? So until somebody actually comes out there and actually starts getting the points in order to take City down, the league is Cities until it isn't, right? I mean, they have, I think the only hope for people this year is I don't think City's as deep as they used to be squad wise, right? I think there are bigger drop offs in key areas for them. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, if you think it's just a coincidence that Rodri goes out and they lose 3 games
on my channel, Will. This is what he's causing. People are unsubscribing.
Australian Gooner comes. Hold on, wait. Listen, Australian Gooner is a subscriber of my channel and sees me talk on like every single day. I don't know what he's talking about. To be honest,
I'm not gonna justify. Listen, I made a promise. This channel, I'll try to bring every single person that I think. Even I agree, I disagree with them. It's not the point. Because if I can be an echo chamber tomorrow. I'm bringing all the people that you see, and we clap. Yeah, we're all in agreement. But I have to bring the different opinions, and Will is one of them. That's why I was like, I wanted to do the show with him tomorrow, but let's do it sooner than later. Do it today, and I'm fucking enjoying this shit.
Yeah, and like people want to say that we've played easier teams or whatnot too, but that's all post hoc rationale, right? Nobody thought Man United would be as bad as they are, right? The Man United we played was a better performing Man United than the one the Arsenal played, and they've just continued to get worse and worse and worse. We played Liverpool, and Liverpool, I think that game was hard. I don't think it was easy. I think them being down to 9 men was harder for us than it would be for us to play them at full strength, and we'll never know until we go to Anfield because the game got ruined by stupid referee decisions. But the point is we got the points on the board. I think City was the better team in the first half. I think Arsenal were better in the second half, and Arsenal got the 3 points. Regardless of the fact that it bounced off Aki's head and went in the goal. I think Ederson had that covered personally. If you watch it in slow motion and you watch how he was diving for, I think he had that shot covered. But it doesn't matter because they hit the back of the net, right? None of the what ifs or maybes are actually applicable to anything, because at the end of the day, the table never lies.
The table never lies. But let's go back to Arsenal. You really like what you're saying, that it's cities, but also there can be somebody else to win the league. You believe that Arsenal can do it if City drops, like if Rodri gets injured, God forbid, like I don't wish injury on anybody. If City don't perform well, you think the closer one is Arsenal, not Liverpool, or you think?
No, I think Liverpool is the closest one. Me personally, watching Liverpool play, watching them play against us, watching them play in other games in the league. I watch a lot of football, not just Premier League, but just football in general. So I think Liverpool, to be honest with me right now, is the main contender. If I were to bet money on it, I would bet my money on Liverpool. I think that they go in January and find a DM, and they'll be really difficult to play against, right? I think even if Arsenal go and sign Tony in the January window, they won't be as dangerous as Liverpool with a sound DM.
Are you saying Liverpool are closer just because you hate Arsenal?
No, I'm not a huge Liverpool fan either. I mean, we have had pretty bad blood over the past couple of years too, since the Champions League final. So I'm not a huge fan of Liverpool. I think Klopp's a baby. I think he cries too much. But
they don't have a DM, and you're basing it on
their front line is far better than Arsenal's. Far better, right? Who you got?
Better than everybody,
Jota,
but it's not only about that.
Diaz,
there's the reason why Arsenal are 20
Salah.
points and Liverpool are behind. And
I think it's down to their midfield.
Arsenal played Man United already. Arsenal played Manchester City already. Liverpool haven't yet.
Yeah, I think it comes down to their midfield. I think their DM, not having a DM, is really hurting them.
I hurt them big time, by the way, because they are conceding chances. Alisson is saving them game week in, week out. And I don't know whether, but people in the chat, who do you think is closer to winning the league if City are not going to win it? Is it going to be Arsenal or Liverpool? I want one name in the league, or if you think it's Spurs. Since we have Will here with us, maybe you can just give him a compliment and say Spurs. Maybe. Or you have a different team, or you think Chelsea can come back. I believe that Liverpool are their forward line is amazing. I actually believe that Arsenal are more controlled than everybody else. I believe that Arsenal are as controlled as Man City in the games. They win games when they can in a controlled manner. They don't go guns blazing, attacking, and we saw it against Manchester City. But I want to move on to a new team. No, people, I don't know, people are going to like that. Chelsea. Why do I want 5-10 minutes on Chelsea? But first, let me do something. I'm going to do a poll while you talk about Chelsea. Do you think they turned the corner? Do you watch their games?
Yeah, I think Chelsea will turn a corner.
You think so?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll turn a corner to where they'll necessarily be anywhere near the title. But I definitely think that they'll
But
definitely
you think they can turn the corner that they can challenge for top 4?
Yeah, especially top 5, like, because that's what it is. As long as
it's not actually.
As long as the English teams do well this season in Europe, then it'll be a top 5. But which hopefully, I hope Arsenal doesn't ruin it. But I think Chelsea will be in and about the top 4 race. I really do. I think I would, if I were to put money on who's going to be in the top 4, Chelsea or Manchester United, I would put my money on Chelsea.
Wow. Yeah. Guys, I just started a poll. So I want you to vote for the poll. The poll says, do you want to see Will as a weekly show on the channel? And it's a yes or no answer. And we'll see how it is. If he agrees, we'll make this a weekly show. I might get somebody else with him as well. But this has been fun. But I agree with you. It has been.
Arsenal fans will all vote no.
Arsenal fans, if you guys don't want to see Will, you're afraid of.
That's right. You're scared. Opinion. You're hiding.
You're scared of the other opinion. You gotta be someone who is willing to listen to the other people, even if you think they're deluded. But it's just an opinion. Maybe his opinion.
There's 1,000 deluded people on YouTube. I can't be the most one. The only reason why.
Well, you might be.
No.
You might be the one.
No, I'm definitely not the one, because I know that all my opinions are based on data. So.
Oh, I love that. To be honest, it has been a fantastic show. I really don't like to go past the hour, and it has been absolutely sensational. I'm just waiting. First of all, I want 150 likes on this video, and I want to see over 100 votes, right? 100 votes before we end this video. because I'm going to get Will's opinion on the last subject. By the time you guys vote, by the time you hit that freaking like button underneath your live chat, hit that like button. Give me to 150 likes. This show, I want the show to be seen
200.
so more people will call Will the deluded guy. Take
I'm ready
clips,
for it.
post it on Twitter. Just do it, guys. We are on 127 and we have 200 people here. So please hit that like button for me, because this is elite content. The like button underneath the live chat. It is a simple click, people. I want to talk about Brighton for 5 minutes. Where are Brighton? Where do you think they can finish? And how sustainable is the way they play football?
I think the only thing that is got Brighton's hands tied behind their backs is just necessarily the quality of their front line and their forwards and stuff like that. I think Matomo's amazing. Because they're creating chances. They're creating more chances than Manchester City are game weekend or game by game. I think that, and De Zerbi has them definitely playing a lot better than Graham Potter. I don't rate Potter. I think he's a fraud.
People told me that, he just built on Potter's foundation. No. Completely different. It's a completely different brand of football, more attacking, wide open.
Graham Potter was finishing like 15th. The best he ever had was 8th, and De Zerbi's got him finishing in 8th. And it's a completely different style of football. They're attacking. I mean, Matoma's been absolutely brilliant. If I could go in and steal anybody in the league, I would go buy Matoma right now for our squad. I think
you need a left winger.
Yeah, we need a. We've got 3 injuries in that position right now, to the point we are having to play Richarlison there. I rate Brighton, and I think that they're definitely going to take points off some big teams this season. They tend to struggle off the mid-table teams, but the big teams, they always come, ready to come and ready to play. They're going to be a party pooper, and they're going to sit there and they're going to take points off the big teams that are going to come after City. They may even take points off City. They do it all the time. They did it last season. I really rate De Zerbi as a manager. And after Postecoglou leaves in 3 or 4 years, if De Zerbi's the next man on the job, I'd take him.
Yeah, 100%. But welcome to Sophia's Talk Football. People, make sure to check her out. She's a great content creator, of course. Sophia, her viewers just joined. Make sure to hit that like button. Thank you, Sophia, for sending your guys here. And also make sure to check Will's channel. Is in the description. It's just a link. All you have to do is just click on it. It will take you there. Subscribe to hear the Spurs guys there. They are different opinion than the echo chambers you see everywhere. Make sure to hit that like button for this video as well. If you stay on this video, it will take you to This Is Football. This Is Football. They're doing a call-in show. Maybe you can call in and have your say there. I had Dan Potts yesterday, an Arsenal fan. Today, I had a Spurs fan. Tomorrow, I will have a City fan, right? It's going to go. And also tomorrow, I might have another Chelsea fan. So stay on this video. It will take you to Sam. This Is Football. Go say hi to him. Hit a like. Give him a call or something. Will, appreciate you being here, my friend.
Always,
absolutely phenomenal show with you today. Enjoyed every minute of it. And I'm sure you guys in the chat, you guys enjoyed it, even though you thought he's deluded or delusional or his.
If you ever want me to set the chat on fire again, just give me a call.
He's only speaking facts in his head. Let's just put it this way.
And the ones on paper.
My people, thank you so much for joining. Make sure to like the video before you go. I really appreciate you guys being here with me. Hopefully we'll do more of these. Well, thank you so much, and thank you everybody, and we're out, people.
Thanks, guys.